This is just behind Waterloo Station, central London, and it's a Waterloo Classics car meeting which happens roughly once a month. Usually this is a market, and then on a Saturday once a month you can come and park your car. It's it's not an invitation thing, you just turn up and park. Get all sorts of stuff turning up. There's some regulars, but I like kind of the lucky dip element to it. There's lots of these Mercedes convertibles, so they'd obviously arranged to all arrive together and park together, and then later on in the video you see and hear them all leaving together. There are also a couple of Triumph Stags in, so I imagine they organised themselves. It's pedestrians and bikes. I'm on my bike, so we cycle in, stay for an hour or two, have a coffee, and then often do other things. So it's lovely, easy breezy stuff where it costs us nothing, and it's part of a London day out. So I tie my bike up down the end. We usually go to the glitch on the right there, and then walk back. That Honda Prelude was amazing. Family friend long gone had one, had rear wheel steering with a steering box. So this is a Jaguar XK150 perhaps. So the XK120s were really to test the engines, but so popular they went into series production. My friend Tom's Junkyard, link below, he knows a lot about these. They moved the engine forward a bit and make some space. E-type Jaguars followed on. I'm not sure what this is, so if you know, say in the comments. But I love the pillarless windows, left-hand drive, some sort of import. A Triumph Herald or Vitesse convertible. Now this is called a Mahari, and it's based on a 2CV. So if you look for the gear change sprouting out the dash there. So a 2CV is sort of a skateboard type chassis, so it's possible to put other bodies on them. Now this isn't something I'd go to a car show to look at, but I love that it's here. And I don't want to be rude about Silverstone Classic, but just seeing 200 metres of the same car queued up really doesn't do it for me. I like this pick and mix. I thought this was some sort of Bentley, but it's not. We'll come to what it is later on. Triumph Stag, that's memory lane for me, and a good friend had one a while. So one of my first trips to London, I think it was someone's 9th birthday. There was like 4 of us sitting on the back holding that T-bar coming down to London. No seatbelts or anything. Saw the Cutty Sark walk through the tunnel. It was a friend's divorced dad's car. So this is a big Healy. I like the aluminium trim around the cockpit, which is same as a Frog Eye Sprite. The earlier ones, the windscreens would fold forward and low to cheat the wind, the 2000s. I don't really know my way around these Mercedes. We had a 1987 Mercedes Estate, and it had very similar upholstery to this one, which was a fake leather called MB Tex, which was the taxi trim and just about unbreakable. We did 260,000 miles in it, and the seats were still fine. It's like proper beating, family use. Look at that 4-seat convertible, lovely. Now this is a Riley Elf, which is a Mini with a boot and a beautiful dashboard from when BMC were badge engineering. That's the Little Peddler Cafe, very good, nice pastries. Lots of people's favourite. Wheels tucked right underneath, very aerodynamic. 150 miles an hour in one of those. I really know them as kind of a price benchmark because they were cheap for what they were, and a Lancia Fulvia little 1300 was the same money. So another Stag. Now one of the highlights, and I've got still photos, and I'll talk more about it later, is that Alpha 2600, which is a straight 6 GT. Beautiful thing. There's a Morris motor that turns up quite regularly that's electric. There's another Stag. Now one of my highlights is this Triumph Herald Estate. So they're one of the last cars to be built on a separate chassis, and then all of the panels bolt together. And it's because they couldn't get control of big enough presses to make a monocoque. So you get convertibles like you saw further down, and saloons, and the estates. The estate's quite rare. This one's got a 2-litre straight 6 and an overdrive. I couldn't see the overdrive switch, which I was expecting on the gear lever. That's a Webasto sunroof, which I really like. I've got a friend who hates those. But a really practical load lugger. I'd love to try one at some point. It's one of these cars that I think I'd love, but I might hop in one, drive it down the road and hate it. Fiat Spider over the back, 124 Spider. Brilliant engines. I had a coupe once. So this is a car I know from Greenwich drive-ins. So it's a Ford with a rock and roll interior to it. Got some stills of that later. And then the other end, getting into street food, gets smarter up this end towards Waterloo. In the distance, that might be the Shard. You can just see down the far end. This Porsche's a regular. Young lady on the right owns it. I think she's one of the movers and the shakers of the club. They also go off on road tours. There's a car show in Lullingstone coming up. I really like the colours on that MGB and the stripes. There's that Riley Elf again, a Mini with boots, a Riley grille, nice dashboard, and we're about to see a pre-war Riley, so you'll see what they were trying to emulate. There it is, and you'll see it in a moment. It's on the right hand side, just waiting to pull into that slot with its indicator flashing. Pre-roll Riley was a big highlight as well. I think it's probably worth me doing the stills and talking through that in a moment. You know the owner is Indiana Jones. This Riley 9 for my dad. It was my grandma's favourite car. Keep trying to find one the same. Theirs had the spare wheel in the boot. It was for sale, so I think he's measuring the garage up. So it's got a silent third gearbox, which means noisy second. It's fitted indicators to it, dual filament bulbs at the front, and these not quite correct but period, I think they're called pork pie lights at the back. The engine in these is really advanced hemispherical combustion chambers like you get with a twin cam but with fancy push rods. 1100cc, but the sports car versions would do 90 miles an hour, supercharged 120. That's magneto ignition, which works without a battery, thermosiphon cooling so it doesn't need the water pump, and the dynamo's just attached right to the front of the crank, so that doesn't even need a belt. He's also got a very smart Riley 9 Gamecock 2-seater that's been in another film. He needs to sell one or the other to make space for a 50s 2.5 litre he's just bought. This is a Hudson Terraplane, which were great value for money, powerful American cars imported in the 30s. Fabulous styling. It's quite odd to have such a swanky interior on one. I'd love to know more about this specific one, and I'll be off down the Hudson wormhole next week. See a lot of people posing next to a big pink one. Fantastic windscreen, a big bubble windscreen. Look at that, the Mini's the same size as the bonnet. I had a Mini, would love a Mini. This is 2CV based as well, so it's back to that skateboard chassis. A late arrival was this Jaguar S-Type. Absolutely fabulous condition. Unusual to see a big saloon on wire wheels. So that was quite distinctive. We'll go around and have a look at the interior. I mean, look at that finish on it. Now this motorbike rather caught my eye. So There's no rear suspension, all the springing is in that big saddle. Come back to the motorbike. So there's a 2CV gear change that would sprout out the dashboard. The air-cooled flat twin at the front. The distinctive suspension sits very low. These things go very well. There's not a lot of power, but there's very little weight. Very comfortable, hold the road very well. They're very well regarded. It's a big single cylinder, and the gearbox is quite separate. Girder force is the spring up the top there. Drum brakes, adjustable friction dampers. So very pre-war sort of technology. You can see rigid frame at the back, sprung saddle. This is in lovely condition. Very much a Meccano sort of thing. You can see the speedo cable comes out and round and down to a little gearbox at the front in the front wheel. This Alfa 2600 was an absolute gem, proper GT car. Got a straight 6 Alpha. Loved it, as would my brother. One funny thing with it is people looking at it, they're looking at the badge and I think it's a Milano, because Alfa Romeo is Milan. The MGB was the nicest I've seen in a long time, particularly like these wheels with the spinners like you normally see on wires. It's absolutely immaculate. I wondered if it was a resto mod like Jodie Kidd went to visit on her channel. The MOT badge is Mean Old Timers who organise the Greenwich Market events. I still need to edit the Halloween video I've got. Anyway, this Zodiac was lovely. I once restored a motorbike, rode it for 2 weeks around London before I realised it was a bad idea. These Ducatis were lovely. Desmodromic valves which open and close mechanically like Mercedes Grand Prix cars used to. Absolute works of art. But the only bike that I ride around London is one of these. I first started work in 1989 and Lower Marsh Street was my favourite then, and it still is. And usually we go to the Glitch Bar down the far end and share a toastie. But we had a little meander down looking at the new ones that have opened, and we went into a new coffee shop which turns out to be the one and only. But I mean, it's so well done. You know, if they told us that they had 200 branches in Tokyo and this was the first one in London, we'd have believed them. So that's a strong recommendation, link below. But really you can't go wrong. I've made a couple of other videos looking at other favourites there cycling down. Calico Coffee, well done kids. So that's it for this time from Lower Marsh Street. Hopefully you'll join me on the next time.